なり逃げるなんて失礼じゃない。
Last Sunday, Mushoku Tensei Season 2 aired its last episode before its planned break, and it left me with a bittersweet feeling. What you're going to be hearing is a take on the first half of the season from someone who's already read the manga and light novel, so I'm going to skip the summary and get right down to it. The show respects the viewer's intelligence in not giving out a recap or montage of any kind in the beginning. However, it takes us into an aspect we don't know during Season 1, and that being how Sylphie managed to get by after the mana teleportation disaster. You get action, exposition, and an introduction to two prominent side characters, all in the first episode, quickly reminding you what had you hooked from the last season. The next episode takes you back to the present time. After Eris's departure, Rudius travels north of the central continent in search for his mum, Zenith. Even though we last saw him make those important first steps by himself, things go from bad to worse for Rudius in the first few episodes, so much so that this happens. This is a reminder that the show does not pull its punches with its themes, but we'll get to that part later. Episodes 1 to 3 covers Volume 7 and is largely recognised as one arc. Despite some dissatisfaction from light novel fans about how it was adapted, it personally didn't bother me that much that only key parts Studio Bind deemed worthy were covered. There is a lot of story to go through and not a lot of episodes to go around about that. The first arc of the season mainly centres around Rudius, but the next arc includes him going to magic school, which was one of his initial goals from the beginning of the show. It also features characters that are not going anywhere anytime soon, and if you couldn't tell already from watching it, there is something brewing. You see two human royalty figures, a well-known immortal demon king, two beast girls with one of them related to Rudius' swordmaster Ghislaine, and a pope's grandson who so happened to meet Eris but falls in love with this elven chick that used to be a member of Paul's old adventure party along with Ghislaine. But wait, there's more. Then there's a noble who's Rudius' cousin, Sylphie, Rudius' childhood friend of this world, and the only other person we know that got isekai'd by the same truck as Rudius in their previous lives. This very same person, until recently, was travelling with the strongest being in the world that turned our main character into a human donut with no effort after Rudius confirms that he gets help from a mysterious person that appears in his dreams, referring to him as an apostle of the man god at the back end of the last season. You're reminded that this is a character-driven show. With all these people brought back or introduced respectively, most of them have their own backstory, personality, and goals in the plot that set each other apart. So far, the show found the right balance in the number of characters brought to light and the amount of depth to them. Last season, we saw a fair bit of Roxy and a lot of Eris, but the one that's returned to prominence in this core of Season 2 is Sylphie. At times, it shifts the focus to Sylphie and her ongoings. We also get to hear her in a monologue. She is under the guise of Silent Fits, using the fake identity for Prince Ariel's sake. Rudius not recognising her, somewhat understandable due to it being 10 years since their last meeting, a hair colour change, and her now always wearing shades to boot puts her in some inner turmoil. Rudius' inner thoughts were a great aspect of the show last season. Extending that aspect further and allowing viewers to hear Sylphie's inner thoughts as well makes the show that much better. This is also done in the light novel, but Studio Bind made the right decision in not removing that, even if it's a little too toned down in my opinion. This feels like the right time to segue into our main character, and I can't talk about him without a little bit of controversy. Sylphie is talking with Ariel and Luke about her childhood memories of Rudius. While you may feel kinda happy for her and awkward along with Ariel and Luke, we also have to keep in mind that Rudius was technically around 40 years old mentally at the time, and his disciplinary treatment to the Beast Girls is let's just say he proves that it's hard not to be a piece of shit when you've been exactly that for a long time. Though whatever understanding disgust you have for Rudius in the last season continues to diminish as the story continues. You can say that it's because of the handicap, but it's also the constant notion that he's carried with him from the start of the show. Despite being the degenerate that he is, he still looks to help those around him however he can. He's managed to build a reputation in the world and the university, but because of the previous experiences with school, he actively tries to not get conceited. You can recognise someone is terrible or they've done terrible things and root for them to do or get better. I think that's one of the many grown adult shit that everyone should be able to do when they're old enough. This show constantly reinforces this notion. It's made to take you on a roller coaster of emotions. Great story, bad main character though amazing, and realistic development. Great animation and world building even though the laws and values in the world are morally fucked up. There are issues with the show you are completely entitled to have, but if you can manage to put them in a little box in your mind as you watch it, you'll realise that this is arguably the best modern isekai thus far. That's it, that's the end of the video. I could honestly talk about this show for ages, but I'm gonna save that for another time in the future. For now, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like. Helps this video get round to other people like yourselves and I'd greatly appreciate it. I make videos like these every week, so subscribe to stay up to date with every upload. Roll safe.